Ocean Strategy by W. Chan Kim and Renee Mauborgne. Success in business depends not on competing within crowded markets, but on breaking away from them entirely. Instead of fighting for limited space in the competitive red oceans, you must chart a path into blue oceans, uncontested markets ripe with opportunity. This book challenges you to redefine boundaries and think beyond conventional strategies, where cutthroat competition no longer dictates success. It shows you how to unlock latent demand, shift focus from rivals to value creation, and build sustainable, profitable growth. Grounded in years of research across industries, this strategy provides practical frameworks for leaving behind a scarcity mindset and instead creating markets where your competition becomes irrelevant. It's not a call to incremental improvements. It's a rallying cry for innovation and bold transformation. Lesson 1. Create new space. You must redefine industry norms by creating value where none existed before. Breaking free from the limitations of competition-driven thinking. The story of Cirque du Soleil exemplifies this. At a time when traditional circuses were losing relevance, battling declining ticket sales, and cutting costs to survive, Cirque du Soleil didn't compete. Instead, it reimagined the very nature of the circus by blending theatrical storytelling, sophisticated artistry, and live music with the essence of a traditional circus. It created an entirely new category. The shift from family-focused entertainment to a sophisticated, adult-oriented experience didn't just attract a new audience, it revolutionized a stagnant industry. By eliminating the costly elements of traditional circuses, like trained animals and three-ring layouts, while elevating the creative and experiential aspects, Cirque du Soleil made competitors irrelevant. Its success wasn't built on doing what others were doing, only better. It was built on doing something entirely different. This principle applies beyond entertainment. Apple's disruption of the music industry is another textbook example. When the iPod and iTunes emerged, the competition focused on hardware specifications, file compression, and the number of songs a device could hold. Apple didn't just make a better MP3 player, it created a seamless ecosystem that solved problems consumers didn't even know they had, organizing and purchasing music with ease. By making the user experience intuitive and centralizing it within iTunes, Apple transformed music consumption, creating a new market space that rendered competitors irrelevant. This wasn't an improvement on existing norms. It was a wholesale redefinition of how people interacted with music. It aligns perfectly with Peter Thiel's argument in 0 to 1, where he stresses that true breakthroughs come from building something entirely new, not from incremental improvements to existing ideas. History offers further proof of the transformative power of creating new space. Consider Ford's introduction of the Model T. Automobiles already existed, but they were luxury products available only to the wealthy elite. Ford didn't compete with other car makers by building a better luxury car. He focused on producing a vehicle that was affordable, reliable, and practical for the average person. By standardizing production through the assembly line and simplifying the design, Ford created an entirely new space where the masses could become car owners. This shift not only expanded the automobile market exponentially, but also reshaped modern transportation and society itself. The lesson here is clear. Creating new space isn't about improving on the past, but fundamentally changing the rules of the game to unlock untapped value. Even literature reflects this principle. Consider J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, which redefined young adult fiction. Instead of competing with existing children's books, Rowling created a rich, immersive world that appealed equally to children and adults, crossing traditional genre boundaries. The combination of fantasy, mystery, and coming-of-age storytelling brought millions of new readers into the literary world, sparking a phenomenon that created new demand rather than cannibalizing existing audiences. like Cirque du Soleil. Rowling didn't just write a better book. She transformed the reading experience and broadened the audience for an entire genre. Your job is not to compete in the shadows of existing market leaders. Instead, you must analyze the unmet needs of your potential customers, especially those who are underserved or ignored by the current industry. Netflix did this when it transitioned from DVD rentals to streaming services. It didn't focus on improving DVD logistics. It reimagined how people consume entertainment by providing instant access to movies and shows. Netflix created a model that not only drew in new customers, but made the traditional rental system irrelevant. This type of bold innovation requires courage, vision, and an unflinching commitment to solving problems others overlook. Stop benchmarking competitors or tinkering with small improvements. Competitor-focused strategies keep you tethered to the constraints of existing norms, while true innovation frees you to explore uncharted possibilities. Look beyond the obvious. Find the gaps. Redefine the rules. Ask yourself what your audience truly needs, and create an offering so irresistible and original that alternatives cease to matter. Redefine the space, and the market will follow you there. Lesson 2. Focus on non-customers. Your biggest growth opportunities lie not in serving existing customers better, but in reaching those who currently have no interest in your industry. This counterintuitive approach is where transformative breakthroughs occur. Consider Yellowtail Wine, which revolutionized the wine market by targeting beer and cocktail drinkers rather than seasoned wine enthusiasts. Wine had long been perceived as an intimidating product, wrapped in layers of tradition, complex terminology, and an air of exclusivity. Yellowtail stripped all of that away by simplifying wine choices, using bold, playful branding, and marketing the product as fun and accessible. Yellowtail created a new audience of casual drinkers who had previously felt excluded from the wine market. It wasn't just a marketing ploy, it was a deliberate strategy to capture the untapped potential of non-customers, unlocking massive demand. The failure to focus on non-customers is one of the most common traps businesses fall into. Kodak serves as a cautionary tale. A pioneer in photography, Kodak was blinded by its loyalty to its shrinking customer base of film camera users. Despite inventing the first digital camera, Kodak hesitated to pursue digital photography for fear of cannibalizing its core business. Meanwhile, companies like Canon and Sony seized the opportunity to attract new customers who valued convenience and digital innovation. Kodak's short-sightedness eventually led to its bankruptcy, proving that clinging to existing customers while ignoring potential new ones is a recipe for irrelevance. The contrast with Yellowtail highlights a critical lesson. Growth depends on your ability to step outside your current customer base and see the unmet needs of the larger market. Historical examples reinforce this principle. When Henry Ford introduced the Model T, he wasn't targeting existing car owners who were wealthy and accustomed to luxury vehicles. Instead, he set his sights on non-customers, middle-class Americans who couldn't afford cars. By revolutionizing manufacturing through the assembly line and focusing on affordability and simplicity, Ford transformed the automobile from a niche luxury to a necessity of modern life. The result wasn't just market expansion, it was the creation of a new market altogether. Ford understood that the path to growth lay in serving the needs of those who weren't yet part of the market. This strategy is evident in the tech world as well. When Nintendo launched the Wii, it didn't compete directly with Sony's PlayStation or Microsoft's Xbox. Instead, Nintendo targeted non-customers, casual gamers, families, and older adults who had little interest in traditional gaming. The Wii's motion controls and family-friendly games made it a cultural phenomenon, attracting millions of new users and expanding the gaming market beyond its established boundaries. Like Yellowtail and Ford, Nintendo succeeded by asking, "Who isn't buying from us and why?" and then creating an offering that eliminated the barriers to entry. The same principle can be found in literature. Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point explores how small strategic shifts can ignite widespread adoption by tapping into new audiences. Gladwell highlights the example of Hush Puppy's shoes, which were revitalized not by targeting loyal customers, but by appealing to young trendsetters who had previously ignored the brand. This unexpected adoption created a viral effect, turning a nearly obsolete product into a cultural icon. The lesson is clear. Non-customers are often the key to revitalizing and expanding markets. You must continually ask yourself, who isn't buying your product or service and why? What barriers, perceptions, or hesitations prevent them from engaging with your industry? Perhaps your offering feels too complex, too expensive, or simply irrelevant to their lives. Address these gaps with bold solutions that meet their needs in a way your competitors haven't considered. This requires more than incremental changes. It demands a willingness to rethink your business entirely. When you solve the hesitations of non-customers, you don't just grow your audience, you open the floodgates of demand and secure your place as a market leader. Lesson 3. Break value-cost trade-offs. Reject the myth that you must choose between offering low cost and delivering unique value. The most successful companies break this false trade-off by creating strategies that simultaneously achieve both, redefining what is possible in their industries. Consider the case of Southwest Airlines, which transformed air travel by aligning innovation with value creation. Instead of competing directly with legacy carriers, Southwest reimagined the market, targeting travelers who typically relied on buses, cars, or trains for short trips. By stripping away unnecessary frills like assigned seating, meal service, and hub-based flight models, Southwest slashed costs while maintaining a level of customer service that turned flying into a friendly and accessible experience. This wasn't a compromise between value and cost. It was the creation of a new model that maximized both. Southwest didn't follow industry norms. It shattered them, opening air travel to millions who had never before considered flying. This principle is echoed in Clayton Christensen's The Innovator's Dilemma, which explores how disruptive innovations thrive by challenging entrenched assumptions. The companies that succeed don't just make incremental improvements within existing frameworks. They reimagine the frameworks entirely. Southwest, for example, didn't try to outdo traditional airlines in terms of luxury or international reach. Instead, it focused on what mattered most to a specific audience: affordability, convenience, and a hassle-free flying experience. This approach disrupted the market, not by competing in traditional ways, but by offering a fundamentally different value proposition. You see similar patterns in industries far removed from aviation. IKEA exemplifies this approach in the furniture market. Traditional furniture stores prioritized craftsmanship, high-end materials, and customer service, which made quality furniture expensive and inaccessible for many. IKEA rejected this value-cost trade-off by streamlining production, designing flat-pack furniture for easy shipping, and creating self-service showrooms. These innovations allowed IKEA to lower costs while offering stylish, functional furniture that appealed to a broad audience. By redefining the customer experience, allowing shoppers to take control of the purchasing process, IKEA delivered value without inflating prices. The result wasn't just a competitive advantage, it was market domination. Breaking the value-cost trade-off requires understanding which elements of your industry's standard practices are actually valuable to your audience and which are simply inflating costs. Tesla offers a compelling example in the automotive industry. Traditional car makers often positioned electric vehicles as expensive niche products with limited appeal. Tesla flipped this model by focusing on performance, design, and a premium experience, all while innovating to drive down the cost of battery production. The result was a product that delivered cutting-edge value while positioning itself as the future of automotive innovation. Tesla didn't settle for compromises. It pursued a strategy that made traditional trade-offs irrelevant. This concept can also be seen in entertainment. Netflix's transition from DVD rentals to streaming is a masterclass in breaking the value-cost trade-off. The company eliminated costs tied to physical inventory, shipping, and late fees, while simultaneously delivering unprecedented convenience and access to an expansive content library. Legacy rental services like Blockbuster, locked into their cost-heavy model, couldn't compete. Netflix's ability to lower costs while enhancing value reshaped how people consume media, setting the standard for an entirely new market. Your task is to challenge the entrenched norms of your industry. Ask yourself which elements of your business model add genuine value to your audience and which are unnecessary burdens driving up costs. Eliminate the latter while amplifying the former. This isn't about cutting corners. It's about innovating with precision and purpose. Look at industries outside your own for inspiration, whether it's IKEA, Tesla, or Netflix, and adopt a mindset that prioritizes creativity over conformity. When you reject the false dichotomy between value and cost, you unlock the potential to dominate your market with a strategy competitors cannot easily replicate. Stop following the rules others have set. Rewrite them entirely, and you'll own the game. Lesson 4. Use the 4 actions framework. To create blue oceans, you must systematically rethink your strategy using the 4 actions framework. Eliminate, reduce, raise, and create. This framework is not just a tool for incremental improvement. It is a structured method for redefining your market and crafting an offering that renders competitors irrelevant. By addressing these 4 dimensions, you can break free from conventional assumptions and design a strategy that delivers unmatched value while cutting costs. The first action, eliminate, challenges you to identify and remove elements that your industry takes for granted, but the customers don't truly value. Cirque du Soleil is a prime example. Traditional circuses emphasized clowns, animal acts, and elaborate 3-ring layouts. But Cirque's audience cared more about artistry and storytelling. By eliminating these costly elements, Cirque not only reduced expenses, but also broke away from the stigma of outdated circus traditions, positioning itself as sophisticated entertainment for adults. The lesson here is clear. Question everything. What are you doing simply because it's the way things have always been done? And does it actually matter to your audience? The second action, reduce, forces you to identify areas where your industry overdelivers to diminishing returns. Many luxury hotels, for instance, pour resources into extravagant private suites that only a fraction of their guests use or appreciate. Budget hotels like Ibis and Premier Inn focus instead on functional, comfortable rooms and exceptional service at an affordable price, reducing unnecessary extravagances while still exceeding customer expectations in key areas. By reducing over-designed features, you redirect resources to areas of greater impact. This principle is echoed in Clayton Christensen's The Innovator's Dilemma, where companies succeed by focusing on what truly matters to underserved segments rather than trying to compete on every front. The third action, raise, involves elevating elements where the industry underdelivers. Tesla exemplifies this by raising the bar for performance, design, and innovation in electric vehicles. While early electric cars were dismissed as slow and impractical, Tesla focused on cutting-edge battery technology and sleek aesthetics, proving that electric vehicles could compete with and even surpass traditional cars. This strategy didn't just capture existing customers, it attracted entirely new audiences who were drawn to Tesla's vision of the future. To raise the bar in your market, you must identify pain points or unmet needs that competitors have neglected and address them with bold ambition. The final action, create, requires you to add entirely new elements to your offering, crafting value that never existed before. Airbnb disrupted the hospitality industry by creating personalized, unique experiences that traditional hotels couldn't replicate. By connecting travelers with local hosts, Airbnb offered not just accommodation but a sense of cultural immersion. This innovation appealed to a generation seeking authenticity and flexibility in their travel experiences. Creating new elements isn't about following trends, it's about identifying the desires or aspirations your audience has yet to see fulfilled and delivering on them in ways only you can. This framework avoids the pitfalls of relying on intuition or guesswork. It provides a structured, actionable lens through which to reimagine your strategy. Consider how the 4 Actions framework could have saved companies like Blockbuster, which clung to a rental model that ignored changing consumer behavior. Netflix, in contrast, applied a similar mindset, eliminating late fees, reducing costs tied to physical inventory, raising convenience through streaming, and creating an entirely new way to consume entertainment. The result was not merely an improved service, but a total transformation of the market. Your mission is to apply the 4 Actions framework to your own industry. Eliminate the unnecessary, reduce the over-engineered, raise the under-delivered. Create the entirely new. This methodical approach ensures your strategy is practical, visionary, and uniquely suited to unlocking untapped demand. Stop relying on tradition or intuition. Use this framework to ground your innovation in clear, actionable insights, and you'll carve out a space that is entirely your own. Lesson 5. Build a strategy canvas. To build a winning strategy, you must first understand the competitive landscape in a clear, actionable way. The strategy canvas is a powerful visualization tool that allows you to map your current position, highlight your strengths and weaknesses, and uncover areas ripe for differentiation. By charting the factors on which your industry competes and comparing them to your own offerings, you gain a bird's-eye view of opportunities to innovate and disrupt. This isn't just a tool for analysis, it's a blueprint for bold, strategic moves that redefine your market and make competition irrelevant. Ford's introduction of the Model T is a textbook example of the strategy canvas in action. At the time, the automobile industry was focused on luxury, variety, and exclusivity. Catering to the wealthy elite, Ford reimagined this landscape, recognizing that most Americans wanted an affordable, reliable car, not endless customization options or high-end features. By simplifying production, standardizing parts, and introducing the assembly line, Ford slashed costs and eliminated complexity. The Model T's success wasn't due to competing with luxury car makers. It was the result of redefining what mattered to customers and dominating an entirely new space. The strategy canvas revealed that variety and exclusivity, while industry norms, were less important than affordability and reliability to a much larger audience. Netflix's transformation from DVD rentals to streaming offers another striking example of how the strategy canvas can guide strategic decisions. The traditional video rental market was defined by factors like physical inventory, late fees, and in-store selection. Netflix disrupted this by shifting focus to convenience, accessibility, and a subscription model that eliminated late fees entirely. The strategy canvas made it clear that the market's focus on physical inventory and penalties created pain points for customers, while the emerging potential of internet-based delivery offered untapped opportunities. By aligning its strategy with what customers truly valued, ease of use and instant access, Netflix didn't just outcompete Blockbuster. It obliterated the traditional rental model altogether. This principle echoes Richard Rumelt's insights in Good Strategy, Bad Strategy, which emphasize the importance of clear inertiaos, ATDT, actionable frameworks. A solid strategy isn't about vague aspirations or lofty goals. It's about identifying specific challenges and leveraging concrete actions to overcome them. The strategy canvas serves as both a diagnostic tool and a decision-making guide, allowing you to focus on what really matters and avoid distractions. Instead of spreading resources thinly across every competitive factor, you concentrate on the elements that provide the most leverage for differentiation. The power of the strategy. Canvas lies in its ability to clarify where value is created and where it isn't. For example, in the airline industry, traditional carriers historically competed on factors like first-class services, international reach, and loyalty programs. Southwest Airlines, however, used the strategy canvas to zero in on low-cost, point-to-point travel with friendly service. By ignoring areas that mattered little to its target audience and doubling down on simplicity, affordability, and reliability, Southwest carved out a dominant position in a blue ocean of its own making. This wasn't about improving existing norms, it was about challenging the very definition of air travel. Similarly, Amazon's early success as an online bookseller was guided by a strategic understanding of its market. Traditional bookstores competed on in-store experience, browsing ambiance, and limited local selection. Amazon flipped the script, focusing on breadth of inventory, convenience, and competitive pricing, which rendered many of the traditional factors irrelevant to a large segment of customers. By visualizing the trade-offs inherent in its market, Amazon created a strategy that played to its strengths while bypassing the competition altogether. To apply this lesson, start by mapping your strategic landscape. Identify the factors on which your industry competes, and evaluate your current position against those of your competitors. Where are you excelling? And where are you simply following the herd? More importantly, which factors truly matter to your audience, and which are remnants of outdated industry thinking? Use the strategy canvas to pinpoint areas where you can reduce, eliminate, raise, or create value. This isn't about minor tweaks. It's about bold decisions that reshape the competitive dynamics of your market. Prioritize actions that focus on the factors with the greatest potential for differentiation, and you'll position yourself to lead, not follow. Lesson 6. Align the whole system. Strategic alignment across your value chain is the foundation of any successful blue ocean strategy. Innovation alone isn't enough. Every element of your organization must work in harmony to deliver on your vision. You cannot offer an exceptional customer experience while tolerating inefficiencies in your operations or mismatched priorities in your team. True breakthroughs occur when design, production, marketing, and delivery all align seamlessly to support the same overarching goals, creating a system where each part reinforces the others and amplifies value creation. Misalignment, on the other hand, introduces friction and wastes resources, undermining even the most innovative ideas. IKEA is a masterclass in alignment. Its business model thrives on coherence between design, supply chain, and customer experience. By adopting a flat pack model, IKEA slashes manufacturing and shipping costs, making stylish furniture affordable. Customers are empowered to assemble products themselves, which not only reduces operational costs, but also fosters a sense of participation and satisfaction. Every aspect of IKEA's value chain, from product design to warehouse-like showrooms, is meticulously aligned to ensure affordability and convenience without sacrificing style. If any part of this system faltered, such as inefficient distribution centers or poorly designed assembly instructions, the entire model would collapse. Instead, IKEA's alignment turns its innovative concept into a market-dominating strategy. Jim Collins, in Good to Great, highlights a similar principle of alignment through the hedgehog concept, where successful companies achieve clarity about what they can excel at and ensure every part of the organization supports this focus. For example, Walgreens' success came from aligning its retail strategy with a singular focus on convenience. From selecting locations on busy street corners to optimizing store layouts for quick access, every decision reinforced the goal of being the most convenient pharmacy. Companies that fail to align their systems, by chasing conflicting priorities or spreading resources too thinly, inevitably dilute their effectiveness and lose their competitive edge. The consequences of misalignment are stark. Consider the fall of Sears. Once a retail powerhouse, its sprawling operations became increasingly fragmented as the company expanded into financial services, real estate, and other ventures unrelated to its core retail business. This lack of alignment not only confused customers, but also strained resources and distracted leadership. Contrast this with Amazon, which has achieved extraordinary growth by aligning its logistics network, technology infrastructure, and customer focus to create an ecosystem of seamless e-commerce. Amazon's commitment to fast delivery, vast inventory, and low prices is reinforced at every level, from warehouse robotics to data-driven inventory management. Alignment is not optional. It's the backbone of sustainable success. This principle extends beyond corporations into history and strategy. The Allied victory in World War II, for instance, depended on the alignment of military strategy, industrial production, and international cooperation. The United States mobilized its manufacturing might to produce unprecedented volumes of aircraft, tanks, and supplies, while Allied nations coordinated efforts to execute a unified strategy. This alignment was critical to overwhelming Axis forces and achieving victory. In contrast, misaligned priorities and fragmented leadership hampered Axis coordination, weakening their war effort despite initial successes. Your task is to ensure that every aspect of your operations aligns with your overarching vision. Audit your value chain regularly to identify gaps or inconsistencies that could undermine your strategy. Are your marketing messages consistent with the customer experience you deliver? Are your production processes optimized to support your value proposition? Are your employees equipped and motivated to execute your strategy effectively? Misalignment at any level, whether it's a confusing brand message, inefficiencies in delivery, or internal resistance to change, will erode your competitive advantage. Strategic alignment requires discipline, clarity, and constant vigilance. You must design your entire system to work as a unified whole, with each element supporting the others. This is not a one-time exercise, but an ongoing commitment to coherence and focus. When you achieve alignment, your blue ocean strategy becomes more than an idea. It becomes a self-sustaining engine of growth and innovation, impervious to the distractions and inefficiencies that plague misaligned competitors. Lesson 7. Overcome organizational hurdles. To implement a blue ocean strategy, you must break through the internal barriers that resist change. These barriers, cognitive, political, and motivational, are the silent saboteurs of innovation, often more formidable than external competition. Change is unsettling, and organizations, like individuals, cling to the familiar. Employees may doubt the viability of new ideas, stakeholders with vested interests may resist progress, and teams may lack the urgency or morale needed to rally around a new vision. Overcoming these hurdles isn't just about planning, it's about execution, communication, and demonstrating results that inspire belief in the strategy's potential. Commissioner William Bratton's transformation of the NYPD illustrates how these barriers can be dismantled with precision and focus. When Bratton took the reins, the NYPD was overwhelmed by entrenched bureaucracy, political resistance, and public cynicism. Instead of attempting sweeping reforms all at once, Bratton focused on highly visible, symbolic victories, such as reducing subway crime, a pain point that touched nearly every New Yorker. By deploying more officers in transit areas and adopting a zero-tolerance approach to minor offenses, Bratton achieved immediate, measurable results. These visible wins not only improved public perception, but also rallied internal support, breaking through skepticism and inertia. Bratton's approach underscores the importance of starting with manageable, impactful initiatives that demonstrate the viability of larger reforms. Chip and Dan Heath. In Switch, How to Change Things When Change is Hard. Explore similar themes. They emphasize the power of small victories to create momentum and align organizational effort. The Heath brothers recount the story of how a rural Vietnamese community tackled malnutrition, not by overhauling its agricultural system, but by identifying and replicating the practices of a few successful families. These small, targeted changes snowballed into widespread improvements, proving that clear goals and visible successes can motivate even the most resistant groups. The takeaway is clear. You must anchor your change efforts in achievable actions that show progress quickly, shifting perception from skepticism to possibility. Political hurdles are another formidable challenge. In any organization, vested interests can block progress to protect their own power or influence. Overcoming these obstacles requires tact and strategy. Bratton's reforms succeeded in part because he communicated his vision clearly and built coalitions among key stakeholders, ensuring that no single group could derail the plan. This echoes the lessons of Abraham Lincoln's leadership during the Civil War, as detailed in Doris Kearns Goodwin's Team of Rivals. Lincoln deliberately included political adversaries in his cabinet to foster collaboration and neutralize opposition. Similarly, you must identify the influencers within your organization, address their concerns, and enlist their support to mitigate resistance and build momentum for change. Motivational hurdles often stem from a lack of urgency or belief in the necessity of change. People resist disruption when they don't feel the stakes. To counter this, you must make the case for why the status quo is untenable. Highlight external threats, such as emerging competitors or shifting customer demands, and internal weaknesses, like inefficiencies or declining market share, to build a compelling narrative for change. At the same time, inspire hope by showing a clear, achievable path forward. Demonstrate that your blue ocean strategy isn't just aspirational, but grounded in real opportunities that will benefit the organization and its people. It's critical to celebrate early wins and share them widely. Success breeds success, and visible results energize teams, building confidence in the strategy. This creates a virtuous cycle where each small victory strengthens belief, reduces resistance, and drives further progress. Momentum is your greatest ally when overcoming organizational inertia. Just as Bratton's subway reforms paved the way for citywide crime reductions, your initial successes can lay the groundwork for larger transformations. Start by identifying the most significant internal barriers to your strategy and addressing them head-on. Use clear communication to align your team, focus on small, achievable victories to build momentum, and anticipate resistance by enlisting the support of key stakeholders. Change is rarely comfortable, but it is essential. When you demonstrate the viability of your vision through tangible, visible results, you replace fear and skepticism with energy and commitment, turning obstacles into stepping stones toward success. Lesson 8. Sustain the strategy. Creating a blue ocean is only the first step. The real challenge lies in sustaining it. Markets evolve, competitors adapt, and customers' expectations shift. What was once revolutionary can quickly become outdated if you fail to innovate and adapt. Sustaining a blue ocean strategy requires vigilance, creativity, and the courage to reinvent yourself before the market forces you to. Complacency is the enemy. If you rest on your laurels, you risk falling into the very competitive traps you worked so hard to escape. Nintendo's Wii is a prime example of both the power and peril of a blue ocean strategy. When it launched, the Wii redefined gaming by targeting casual players and families with its intuitive motion controls and approachable design. It wasn't competing on traditional gaming metrics like graphics or processing power, but on accessibility and innovation. The strategy was a massive success, opening gaming to entirely new demographics. However, Nintendo failed to sustain its momentum. While Microsoft and Sony integrated similar motion control features into their consoles, they also continued to advance in areas like graphics, online capabilities, and game offerings. Nintendo, on the other hand, didn't innovate quickly enough, and its initial advantage eroded. The Wii's success faded, proving that a blue ocean isn't a permanent safe harbor. It's a dynamic space that demands continuous reinvention. Eric Ries's The Lean Startup offers critical insights into sustaining innovation. Ries advocates for agility and relentless customer focus, emphasizing the importance of constantly testing, learning, and iterating. This mindset is essential for maintaining a blue ocean. Rather than treating your initial success as the end game, you must view it as a foundation for ongoing experimentation. For example, Tesla's ability to sustain its dominance in the electric vehicle market stems from its commitment to continuous innovation. Tesla doesn't just rest on the success of its Model S, it pushes boundaries with advancements in battery technology, self-driving capabilities, and sustainable energy solutions like solar panels and energy storage. This relentless drive to improve and diversify has kept Tesla at the forefront, even as competitors have flooded the electric vehicle market. Historical lessons reinforce this need for adaptation. Kodak's rise and fall serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of failing to sustain a strategic edge. Kodak was an early pioneer in photography, even inventing the first digital camera. But its reluctance to disrupt its own film business allowed competitors to dominate the digital revolution. The irony is glaring. Kodak had the tools to sustain its leadership, but clung to outdated paradigms, prioritizing short-term profits over long-term innovation. Contrast this with Apple, which continually reinvents its products, even at the risk of cannibalizing its own successes. From the iPod to the iPhone and beyond. 39th chapter. Apple's willingness to disrupt itself has sustained its position as a market leader. Sustaining a blue ocean strategy also requires a deep understanding of your customers and a readiness to adapt to their evolving needs. Netflix provides a powerful example of how to do this effectively. Originally a DVD rental service, Netflix recognized the shift in consumer behavior and pivoted to streaming, even as competitors entered the market. Netflix continued to innovate, investing in original content and personalized recommendations. Its agility and foresight allowed it to remain the dominant player in streaming entertainment. The lesson here is clear. Staying ahead means anticipating change, not reacting to it. To sustain your blue ocean strategy, you must embrace a mindset of perpetual innovation. This requires staying close to your customers, monitoring industry trends, and being willing to challenge your own successes. Don't let the comfort of initial victories lull you into stagnation. The market never stops evolving, and neither should you. Be prepared to cannibalize your own offerings if it means staying ahead of competitors. Agility, creativity, and a relentless focus on delivering value are the keys to maintaining your advantage. When you view your strategy as a living, evolving process, you ensure that your blue ocean remains a vibrant, uncontested space that continues to deliver growth and opportunity. Lesson 9. Don't copycat. Imitation may seem like a shortcut to success, but in reality, copying a blue ocean strategy without understanding its underlying principles is a recipe for failure. True innovation isn't found in replication. It's discovered in rethinking your market, addressing its unique challenges, and crafting a solution that is distinctly your own. Copycat strategies fail because they lack authenticity, depth, and alignment with the needs of the market. They are shadows of the original and crumble under scrutiny when tested by customers who crave real value. Sony's attempt to replicate Apple's dominance with MP3 players is a cautionary tale of what happens when companies focus on mimicry rather than insight. At the height of the iPod's success, Sony sought to compete with its own line of MP3 players, but its approach missed the mark entirely. While Apple revolutionized the music industry by combining seamless design, intuitive user experience, and the iTunes ecosystem, Sony focused on technical specifications instead of solving the broader problem of how people consumed, organized, and purchased music. Sony delivered a product that felt like an engineering project devoid of user empathy. The result was predictably underwhelming, proving that copying the surface elements of a strategy is no substitute for understanding its core drivers. This lesson aligns with the principles in Seth Godin's Purple Cow, which emphasizes the necessity of being remarkable and creating products or services that are inherently unique. Godin argues that the market rewards those who stand out, not those who attempt to blend in by emulating others. The iPod wasn't just a better MP3 player, it was a redefinition of how people interacted with music. Similarly, Starbucks didn't achieve its success by copying diner-style coffee shops. It created an entirely new experience that combined high-quality coffee with a third-place environment where people could gather, work, or relax. The common thread among these successes is their originality, their alignment with unmet needs, and their commitment to differentiation. Even in history, the perils of imitation are evident. Consider how Eastman Kodak, after missing the digital photography wave, tried to replicate the successes of emerging digital camera brands. Lacking a cohesive vision, Kodak's efforts felt disjointed and reactive, falling short of customer expectations. In contrast, companies like Canon and Nikon leaned into their own strengths, delivering cameras that catered to both professionals and enthusiasts while embracing the digital era. Their success came not from copying competitors, but from evolving their strategies to align with their brand identities and market dynamics. The takeaway? Copying doesn't lead to leadership. It leads to irrelevance. The problem with copying isn't just that it fails to resonate with customers. It also stifles creativity within your organization. When you focus on imitation, you forego the opportunity to explore your market's unique dynamics and uncover insights that could drive original innovation. The energy spent on replication could instead be directed toward understanding your audience, identifying unmet needs, and solving problems in ways that only your company can. This is what makes blue ocean strategies so powerful. They emerge from a willingness to chart new paths, not follow existing ones. Tesla's rise in the electric vehicle market demonstrates the power of originality. Traditional automakers initially dismissed Tesla's approach, then scrambled to replicate its success once they saw the demand for electric vehicles. However, many failed to grasp that Tesla's dominance wasn't solely about electric powertrains. It was about the entire ecosystem Tesla built: the charging network, software updates, direct-to-consumer sales, and the aspirational brand image. Attempts to copy Tesla's surface-level innovations often fell flat because they lacked the deeper strategic vision that made Tesla revolutionary. Your task is to resist the allure of imitation. Instead of chasing the success of others, dig deeply into your market's unique needs and craft a strategy that no one else can replicate. This means listening to your customers, questioning industry norms, and embracing the hard work of original thinking. Being remarkable doesn't come from following someone else's path. It comes from creating your own. When you commit to originality, you position yourself as a leader, not a follower, in your market. Success doesn't come from copying. It comes from having the courage to stand apart. Conclusion: the essence of the blue ocean strategy lies in rejecting competition as the end game and instead seeking uncontested opportunities that redefine industries. By focusing on value innovation, you bypass the constraints of conventional thinking and unlock sustainable growth. The lessons in this book provide a roadmap for breaking free of competition, but they require boldness, creativity, and alignment. Consider reading The Innovator's Dilemma for deeper insights into disruptive innovation, or Good Strategy, Bad Strategy for actionable strategic frameworks. Remember that success is not about winning battles, but about rewriting the rules. Your future lies in the oceans you choose to create, not the ones others have already polluted. The end.